Hey everybody, how you doing? It's me again, Truth Teacher, coming at you with another video. So today I'm going to be discussing something that I experienced last night and the realization that I came away from because of it. So yesterday I was watching a debate between the Radical Latino and this guy named Pneuma or whatever. Rich is an, how do you say, an American Latino. He's half Mexican and half Honduran. But he's one of these Latino individuals you find on YouTube who are overly obsessed with African Americans. And they go out of their way to scour the internet and YouTube and social media to find reports of Black people reporting crime, committing crimes. And then they put out this video where they're, saying that this is the representation of the African American community. Now, Radical Latino, on the other hand, his platform, he's half Ecuadorian, half Dominican, born and raised in the Bronx, in the same area that I grew up in. And his platform is based on the idea that Spanish-speaking people, from Latin America, Central America, the Caribbean, who live in these communities need to have a platform of political unity with African Americans or Black people, because we all suffer the same challenges in these communities. And he's absolutely right. Even though we've got different cultural backgrounds, different traditions, etc., the way the dominant society treats us in these communities, we all get the same treatment. Whether that be the substandard level of education in our schools, whether that be inadequate substandard housing, poor access to proper medical care, struggling with social tensions, like drug abuse, alcoholism, mental health issues. We all are facing the same struggles, police brutality, you name it. Whatever one group of people is experiencing, you can best believe that everybody in that community are facing the same challenges. And in order to address these challenges, we do need to come together and hold our elected officials accountable. So Radical Latino, he sees people like this and he calls them out. And he made a few videos about Rich Pneuma and, his distortions. And so I guess Rich feels some kind of way and challenges Radical to a debate. So they have this debate, happened last night. I'm gonna leave the link below and you guys can go and watch it, because you really have to see it to understand what I'm gonna say. These individuals are people who are not rational. These are people who are suffering from really deep ingrained emotional disorders. Some of them are sociopathic. Some of them are narcissistic, suffering from narcissistic disorders. But all of them are deeply, deeply, deeply unhappy in their lives. Life isn't working out for them in some major way. This particular individual, Rich, he's a high school dropout, unemployed, really doesn't have anything going for him except for a rap career that's, really not going anywhere at all. And for some reason, they've decided, people like this particular clique of Latino people have latched on to conservative, left-wing talking points. And it was just very obvious that he didn't know what he was talking about. And this is something that has been consistent whenever Radical Latino has engaged these people and tried to have discussions with them about their ideologies. And I've encountered and engaged with them too. And what really came across last night, I mean, I kind of knew it, but it was really, really obvious that these people are emotionally broken. And, you know, the thing is that we see people like this and we figure that if you just give them the right information and you show them logic and common sense, that they'll get it. But, you know, the thing about people like this, they will never get it. No matter how off-based their arguments are, and you show them logical arguments, you show them credible information and facts, what they're going to do is they're going to find some way to deflect. They'll start attacking you with, you know, personal insults. If you ask them a direct question, they'll never have a real concrete answer for you. They're always going to resort to personal attacks, trying to deflect, you know, coming up with red herring arguments. And this was really, really clear with this person last night. But what I noticed about him is just a complete detachment from reality, a real classic case of cognitive dissonance. And, you know, he starts blowing himself up. I'm the greatest rapper that's ever been. I won this debate. You know, just completely delusional. And this is really indicative of a particular kind of narcissistic disorder. And as rational human beings, you know, we see something that's not right. We see where there's incorrect information, and we think that, you know, it's our instinct to want to correct something that's incorrect. But what we need to realize is that logic has nothing to do with this kind of mentality. You could see the sky and say the sky is blue. They'll tell you, no, the sky is green. And you get a card, you know, one of these color cards that you used to teach kids with. It says blue, and then it has the color blue. You see, like, that's blue. See, that's the same color. It'll be like, no, it's green. And you're just stupid and you don't know, you know, they'll start deflecting and just running around in circles. And, you know, it's frustrating to ordinary people because you're like, you know, like, how can you not see something that's so obvious? The answer to that question is that their brains are not hardwired to process logic. It's all about their emotions and their perceived, you know, perception, their perception of what they think the world is all about, what they want it to be about, you know? So there's nothing that you're ever going to say to these people that's ever going to get through. These people are never going to get it because they don't want to. And I guess they have a really great talent of making themselves believe the unbelievable. So, you know, at one point I did get into the stream and, you know, it was opened up to callers and I did unload my temper on him because it's, you know, when you're dealing with people like this, emotionally, it's very frustrating. And, you know, a lot of us, we have people like this in our daily lives. They might be family members, they might be parents. And, you know, if I had been concerned about winning an argument, a debate, or whatever, I would have probably held back my emotion, but I realized that it didn't matter. And it, to be honest with you, it felt good to let loose. Listen, every now and then it's kind of cathartic to just let it out, and I did. Radical was like pissed off at me for doing that because he was like, you're playing into his alley. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, but it is what it is. I mean, the fact of the matter is that Radical made very strong arguments and he had material to back up his statements. But I just recognize the fact, and what I'm saying to all of us here, social media is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it allows us to be able to communicate with each other across the world, limitless, in real time. We can be sitting here talking to somebody in our living rooms who might be in China or Australia or anywhere in the world. I mean, I remember the days where, you had to write a letter or, make a phone call, that would cost you an arm and a leg. And here we are, we can talk to people face to face. But the downside of this is that back in the day, we really didn't understand just how pervasive mental illness was. We'd see people, we'd see things, and we'd think, oh, this person is just being an asshole. And yeah, they are being an asshole, but they're being an asshole for a reason. They're an asshole because they're mentally disturbed. And unfortunately, social media has given a platform to a lot of people who are suffering from emotional disorders, personality disorders. Not only do they get a chance to vent what's going on in their mind, but they get to have an audience. Back in the day, crazy people used to just keep their crazy to themselves for the most part, But now it's like, it's an open window. And we see these people and we see these things and we don't necessarily recognize what it is that we're looking at. People. We're looking at mental illness. Antonio Batista, he had that video that went viral. This is not normal behavior. That was an emotional breakdown. This was a window into the mind of a deeply emotionally disturbed individual. And I guess we're kind of slow on the uptake as a group, right? As a society, because we're not used to seeing mental illness on full display like that, So we see it and we try to make sense out of what we're seeing. And there's no making sense out of it. There's no rationalization. There's no, reasoning with these people. They're broken. They are broken people. And I think, for our benefit, for the sake of our mental health, the best thing that we could do is to just give them as little attention as possible. And I know that's really hard to do when you see someone out there and they're making such really horrible, inflammatory statements. But, I guess you got to look at it this way, right? If you had a little kid, and I know like all of us, we've probably seen little kids or, have little kids around us, when they're going through something and they're going through a tantrum and they're, I hate you, ah! Do you feel any kind of way about it? Not really, because you realize, this is a kid, I'm dealing with an irrational mind right now. This is a child. And so you let it slide. But, when it comes to a grown adult, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the fact that this is like, a deranged child in a grown-up body. But that's exactly what it is. So we spend a lot of time being, getting angry, feeling upset, feeling insulted, taking things to heart, and then trying to rationalize, right? And so what I'm saying to all of us, as hard as it is, and it's gonna, it'll take a little bit of work. God knows it is for me. But the thing that you got to do is you have to realize that this is not personal, okay? You can't take this to heart. This has absolutely nothing to do with you. And to those of us in the African American community, listen, I want you all to understand something, okay? You will see people all across social media from different ethnic groups bashing people of the African diaspora. And what you got to realize is that you cannot let them infect you with their poison. Because this is exactly what they want to do. They want to create discord between groups because they feed off of that negative energy. These are people who have nothing going on in their lives emotionally. And coming on social media and, kicking the dirt up is a way to make them feel like their existence, has some kind of validity. This is what they want. And, it's not just Latino people or other people coming against African Americans or people of the African diaspora. It works the other way too. So for my Latino people out there, my Spanish-speaking people out there, realize that when you see these people, like, they might call themselves African American, ADOS, whatever, you see them coming against you and making these inflammatory videos, etc. You have to understand that they're coming from the same place. No matter who it's directed at, if it's African Americans directing it at Latinos, continental Africans directing it at African Americans, or directing it at West Indian. I mean, listen, mental illness is not limited to any one particular group. For better or for worse, we are all human beings. And as human beings, we have a duality to our nature. We have positive attributes, we have a positive side to us, and then we have a negative side. And whichever side we feed the most energy and attention to is what becomes dominant in our personalities. So everybody has, everybody has good qualities about them. They may be talented, they may be very intelligent or very creative in certain areas, but you do have some people who are just very broken emotionally in some very key areas. And unfortunately, their dysfunction is greater than all the other areas of their personality that are positive. And so what do you do with these people? There isn't anything that you can do with these people because you cannot fix them. And I think that's the trap that a lot of us fall into. We think that we can fix these people. And some of us feel like we have a duty to fix them, to correct them, to make them see the light. We're not mechanics. Well, some of you out there might be mechanics, but when it comes to dealing with people, we're not mechanics. It's not our jobs to fix anyone. You can give them advice, you can give them information, you can point them in the right direction, but if they're going to change for the better, they have to do the work on their own. We can't lead their hand and make them do anything. So if you encounter people like this, whether it's in social media or it's in your regular day-to-day life, when you see that no matter what you do, it's just realize that there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it, and that you are under no obligation whatsoever to try to fix this. Recognize that at the end of the day, these are not happy people, because happy people do not go around doing these kind of things. They're too busy living their lives and enjoying life. You know, so instead of taking it personal and feeling hurt, guard yourself. Don't let that energy get inside of your head or inside of your heart. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. And the best way to go about it is really give them as little attention as possible, because this is what they feed off of. They feed off of your energy. The attention that you give them gives them energy. And that's what they're looking for. These people, they're energy vampires. So, you know, if you feel that by letting go, you know, they're winning. No, they're not winning. They're not winning. You don't have to feel like you've got to defend, you know, you got to stand up to them. No, it's just a waste of time and a waste of energy that you could be using towards making your life better, you know? Now, what I've done with my channel is I've created resources here in my playlists that are geared primarily to people of the African diaspora. I have videos looking at our histories. I have videos looking at the contributions we've made scientifically, medically, in the past and in the present, and everything that you need there to give you a positive sense of self. If you are a person of African descent and you are working your way out of the indoctrination that this society has put on us to make us feel like we're insignificant, we're not good enough, we're not beautiful, we're not attractive, you will find contradictions to all of those things in my playlists. So instead of wasting your time on people like that, build yourself up. The best revenge that you could ever have is to have a happy, successful, and healthy life. Living your best life is the best and the sweetest revenge that you could ever have. Because like I said before so many times, these people are not happy. They're really, really very deeply unhappy people. And unfortunately, instead of putting their energy into improving their lives, they would much rather try to put somebody else down in order to elevate themselves. But that doesn't work, because deep inside, if you have no sense of self-worth, or you feel unlovable, no amount of putting someone else down is ever going to work. Even if you have 100, 10,000 people around you who say, yeah, we agree with you, still inside, you're going to feel deficient. And that's what these people are. They feel grossly deficient. And this is why they have to look at you. They have to find somebody else to denigrate in order to feel like there's someone else. Maybe they, in their lives growing up as children, maybe they grew up in atmospheres where, you know, their family members were, you know, or their parents were extremely hypercritical. And they got nothing but negative feedback about themselves, you know, that destroyed their self-esteem. Maybe that's part of it, but at the end of the day, it's not your job to fix them. You're under absolutely no obligation whatsoever to fix it, to make it good. And engaging with them is pointless, because no matter how logical and factual the information you give them, they're not going to receive it, because it goes against what they want. And what they want is to feel better than. So they're not going to let it in. They're going to keep closing it out and deflecting all the time. It's a waste of your time and your energy. And, you know, just do a test. If you have this kind of engagement with somebody, ask yourself, after you finish, you know, writing your replies or, you know, whatever it may be, take some time and take a deep breath and just ask yourself, in this moment, did I feel happy because of this exchange? Did this make me feel good? Did it make me feel empowered? Did it give me peace of mind and tranquility in my spirit? And if the answer to the question is no, which I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be no. Why give them your precious time? These people are not worthy of your attention. They really aren't. So instead, take that energy, put it into things that will build up your spirit. You know, take care of your health. Start a new hobby, start a new business, go back to school. You know, anything that you can do that's going to enhance the quality of your life, put that energy into those things. And leave these people alone, you know? Because when you get to be where you need to be in life, it's going to be like flying in an airplane and just looking down at everybody down there that just like look this big. That's how these people are going to look to you. Don't let these people get into your heart or into your head. And definitely don't let them influence the way you feel about yourself and the world. You know, this is a world of a lot of contradictions and contrasts. So since that's the case and there's nothing that we can do about the ugliness, how about we focus on what's beautiful in the world instead? Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to turn a blind eye and like, you know, make believe that the negativity doesn't exist. But, you know, when it's something that we can, you know, do something about, you know, like creating a movement or whatever, you know, taking some real action that's going to result in tangible gains, then by all means, do what you got to do. But these kind of pointless circular arguments with people who are mentally disturbed, you don't want to catch that shit. And mind viruses are highly contagious. Protect yourself. Whether you consider yourself a Latino, Hispanic, Black, African American, ADOS, whatever. I want you all to give yourself some love, to give yourself some light. Yes, as people of color, we go through a lot in this society. Historically, we've been through a lot, but we've also overcome a lot too. And we pay homage to our ancestors who made so many sacrifices so that we could be enjoying the life and the benefits that we have now. Let's look ahead to the future because we are the ancestors of the future. Let's be the best versions of ourselves that we can be so that we can make positive changes, real positive changes in this world so that our future descendants will have a much better world to live in than what we have now. So with that, I'm going to end this video, everybody. Love and light, peace, prosperity, and perfect health to everybody. You all be good to yourselves now, all right? Peace.